We see them across the Arklatex. They're our friends, our neighbors, our family. They served our country, and for the last year, we've devoted our time to share their stories. Tonight, we celebrate our KSLA Salutes 1-year anniversary. And as a way to say thank you for letting us share your stories, we're taking a look back at an incredible year. So it's only fitting we start with our living legends. Each day, hundreds of World War II veterans leave us. We've made strides to honor those great heroes still among us, as KSLA salutes the voices of the greatest generation.
I'm Kenny Lewis. I was a corporal in the United States Army.
It was one of those kind of experiences that you have that you wouldn't have missed for the world, but you wouldn't want to do again, that type thing.
On the way over to Guam, we got our ship was sideswiped. We ran head on to another one, I guess, and it sideswiped it.
Omaha Beach, we left at 10 o'clock at night from Southampton and went across, and we got to the beach at 6:30 in the morning.
I'm Jack Lennox Jr. I'm a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. I guess I'm the last P-38 ace still around. That's been a long time ago.
It's a great honor to be and knowing that you was part of that in them days, a generation that fighting for your country.
I was looking forward to getting on the beach, to tell you the truth of it. Me and my little .30 caliber carbine.
We did what we had to do. We went there mainly to protect the bombers. The bomber really was a sitting deck.
I am probably one of the few Americans. I spent 38 years on active duty. 38 years.
I've just lived a straightforward life, and that's what I recommend.
My goal in life is to help one person every day as long as I live.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Last fall, I was given a great honor and the opportunity to travel with more than a dozen World War II and Korean War veterans from the Arklatex to Washington, D.C. Coming up later in the show, we'll have a look at KSLA salutes on the road from our nation's capital.
I think it means so much to our young women that are coming through and processing here today to see an example of what they could do and who they could be if they just put forth the same effort.
Not every GI is a Joe. In fact, women are one of the fastest growing subgroup of veterans, and they're often underrepresented when it comes to our nation's military. Here's a look back now at some incredible women in our community who continue to lead the charge in breaking barriers for all women, both military and civilian.
It didn't make any difference where the Air Force asked me to go or what they asked me to do. I was going to do the best that I could do. I was going to excel to the best of my ability, and that's what I tried to do during my career.
I decided that because my dad's an Army veteran, that I wanted to serve my country. So I joined the Air Force at the age of 18. I've always been a people person. I've always wanted to do things that allow me to help other people.
When I made Chief, it was a very humbling experience. So to say, oh wow, I can see myself here, I can see myself there. You know, I always share with our young airmen that, you know, you take every rank of where it's at and you give it the best that you have. You earn that every single day and be prepared for the next step.
I'm just not going to give up. I'm just not. You know, I have a real problem when I hear people say, you know, I just can't do that. Why can't you? Why can't you? You know, don't do that to yourself. If you think you can't, you're right.
To be sitting here 26 years later, it's very humbling. But it's been an awesome experience. I wouldn't change it for anything.
I enjoyed it, especially because it's areas where people need, help at. Fitness, I was a personal trainer, food, preparing the food and make sure everybody had access to eat when we deployed.
There's a whole world out there, and you just have to be willing to risk going and finding it.
It's not about me. It's about the people that worked with me, the people in the organizations that I'm in.
I like to say that I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm an airman.
The Women Veterans of the Arklatex Group is currently working to raise $100,000 needed to place a bronze statue honoring female veterans in Bossier City. If you'd like to help their efforts, or maybe you're a female veteran who'd like to get involved in the group, we have a link to their website for you when you open our KSLA Salutes Anniversary Special story on our KSLA News 12 app. Well, from a couple of Marines who've thrown caution to the wind to an active duty airman taking his fitness to new heights. One thing's for sure, the Arklatex is surrounded by incredible veterans, and you never know what you may find when you stop to listen.
I just sold all my stuff and flew to Belize because it was the cheapest flight south.
The workhorse of the bomber force of the world, it's B-24. Classified name at that time was Jungle Jim, and they went through asking people like myself 3 questions like, if you were shot down, are you willing to accept the fact that your country may deny that you were, and stuff like that. And there are a few of us nuts that signed up for that.
I love it. The whole 73.
And these people are fun, they're interesting, they all come from different walks of life. They're just good people.
But what do they do?
We need the young people to get involved. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when they need help, who's going to help them?
To see so many veterans gathering together from 102, literally from 102 years old down to about 30. And it just shows what really is great about our state, because it is our people, and there's no better group of people, no more patriotic, nobody who's contributed more to the state and to the country than these veterans that we're recognizing here today. So it's exciting for me, and I'm just so happy to be able to be a little part of it.
My last name, it's pretty tough to pronounce. So some of the announcers were just like, okay, you're Air Force Ken now. And I really like that, though, because it lets everyone know that I'm not a professional at this. I'm serving our country. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a godfather. I'm just like everybody else.
Still ahead, we'll take you beyond the gates at Barksdale Air Force Base. A closer look at airmen on the job as we continue our KSLA Salutes 1-year anniversary. New at 5, 26-year-old Alvin David II, the man accused of a multi-state crime spree, is now facing additional charges for allegedly killing a man in Center, Texas. Police have now identified a man's body found in a backyard under a storage building. We first told you about this case today at noon. And you've been watching CBS's coverage of President George H.W. Bush's return to our nation's capital tonight, where he will lie in state there in the rotunda. And we'll continue to stream this ceremony for you live on our KSLA News 12 Facebook page. And of course, we have much more coverage of the life and legacy of President George H.W. Bush for you right now on our KSLA News 12 app and on KSLA.com. This just into our KSLA News 12 newsroom. You are looking live right now at a massive fire at First Bossier in Bossier City. You can see firefighters on scene. These are the flames that we could see, drivers could see from I-20 this morning. Look at Miranda Whittington is live on the scene. You can see them trying to put out those flames. We're continuing to follow this massive fire from First Bossier Church in Bossier City this morning. Multiple agencies on scene. You can see those flames right there. This is a live look from the scene and a live look from our DOTD cameras where drivers are seeing the flames and the smoke as the sun is coming up on their commute. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the tragic death of Amanda Carney, a young woman murdered during a violent prison break in Claiborne Parish. The case made worldwide news, but now, 12 months later, there's still more questions surrounding Amanda's death. Tonight at 10, KSLA Chief Investigative Reporter Stacey Cameron sheds light on shocking new details in the case. John Husak remembers vividly the day the Army reported his brother missing.
We had come back from school, and the family had just received the telegram that he was missing in action. So when we got home, it wasn't a happy situation. Both of my mother and father were crying.
That was February 1945. 9 months later, the Army declared him killed in action.
And that was like reliving it all over again. I mean, finality.
As the years went on, John and another brother submitted DNA samples to the U.S. Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, hoping to one day bring their brother's remains home where they belong.
The family did have a memorial service for him in the church, and we kind of thought, well, that put closure on it, but there was still this opening, he's not here.
For nearly 3/4 of a century, an unidentified body laid at rest in a Netherlands cemetery.
And they gave him a number, 1034.
With the help of dental records and other forensic tests, including a 99% match in DNA, 1034 is now Army Staff Sergeant Leo Husak.
At first, I thought this is some sort of a hoax. Somebody is going to ask me for money.
It wasn't until Army officials presented Husak's family with their findings, including information on his brother's final battle, did he truly believe.
It's unbelievable, really.
You see, what the Army didn't know is that Leo made a pact with a fellow soldier before he died, promising one another they'd visit their families if one of them didn't make it. The story of Leo's death shared by Army officials, nearly identical to the one John Husak tells me he heard years ago.
He was on a scouting patrol, and about 9 o'clock at night, and he came around a snowbank with 5 other people, and as soon as he showed his head, he was hit, and they say he was killed instantly.
Staff Sergeant Husak died in Germany's Hürtgen Forest during the longest single battle the U.S. Army has ever fought.
He was killed 30th of January, 1945.
Just 21 years old.
My mother would always say that she wished that they could find him and bring him home. He's coming home. We hope that as sad as it's going to be, and it is, it will put closure to it, and we'll have the body remains in the family plot.
The missing link to the Husak's military heritage.
My father was in World War I. Leo was in II. I served during the Korean, Vietnam era. Our son, John, retired from the Air Force also. Now, he served during the Desert Storm era. And our only grandson is presently in the ROTC program at the University of Texas at Arlington, and he hopes to fly with the Air Force.
And a message of hope to those still searching.
Don't give up. The Army is working, and they are going to bring everyone home that they possibly can.